Hello everybody. This is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today we're going to do an arrangement in a glass vase. This is for a get well soon arrangement. So bright, bold colors, something happy to make someone feel better. So we're going to start out with some leather leaf. This is just a foliage that we like to use as a base greenery. I'm going to take my foliage. I'm going to grab my floral knife. Now for me as a designer, the knife is my favorite tool. So I don't know about you, but I find that I am able to hold a knife and design and never actually have to set my knife down except a few times. If you're anything like me as a designer, I am messy. It is a messy job to be a florist, and so if I can keep my tool in my hand and not have to lay it down constantly, I have less chance of losing my knife. So I'm going to take my floral knife using my, this is my left hand, my knife is in my right. I'm going to pull with my left hand and cut that stem. So I just take that floral knife, hold it at an angle. You can see my hand right there. Pull and cut. It just takes practice. You will find using a floral knife, you're a little timid or a little scared of it. You will get cut. Just a warning, you're going to get cut every so often. I still, after almost 30 years in the business, I'm going to cut myself. But I find it is so much easier to design. I am more efficient if I use a floral knife. Okay, so I've added my greenery in my container. It's kind of all the way around. You can see that. Next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set my leather leaf to the side. I have extra just in case. I'm going to set it there. Next, what we're going to do is come in with a little bit of eucalyptus. Now, this is a seeded eucalyptus. There's lots of varieties of eucalyptus. This one happens to be seeded. I love it. I love its texture. I love its fragrance. I'm going to cut that stem also at an angle, and I'm just going to tuck that right down into that vase. The wonderful part about eucalyptus and seeded and then the other different varieties is often you can cut it in half and use it as two separate pieces. And then I have one more piece I'm going to cut in half. So I had 4 stems of eucalyptus. And I just tucked that right into the vase. Now, I love eucalyptus because I like its texture and I like the drip that it gives. It kind of gives a little bit of a movement. The next flower, or the first flower I'm going to use, is a little bit of Delphinium. Now, look at its beautiful blue color. Very bold, very pretty. I'm going to start out with 2 stems of blue Delphinium. Now, if you have ever done any research on flowers, blue is a color that's not very prevalent. It's hard to come by a true blue flower. You're going to find a lot of flowers that are called blue often are purple, but Delphinium actually comes in a true blue. I took my floral knife, cut that stem at an angle, and I am tucking that first stem right there in the center. I'm going to take my second stem, and I'm actually going to cut it shorter. This stem actually has a pretty little bud. I'm going to pull it off and use it also as a piece. I took off a few of the lower buds, and I'm going to cut that stem at an angle and nestle that right in. Now you can see it's shorter than my first stem. I needed it to kind of graduate down and be a little shorter. This is that little bud. Cut that stem at an angle and tuck him right in that arrangement. Now the next flower I chose is this beautiful purple, or we call it a fuchsia, a pinky purple stalk. I personally love stalk. And I'm going to use it also as a line flower. It's going to give me a little bit of a line. So I'm going to take that, cut it at an angle, and tuck him right down in. And you can see this bold, beautiful, bright color just adds some happiness to this arrangement. Now, quite honestly, these are 2 beautiful colors together. Very pretty, very well, they go well together. Just so pretty. Now, the next flower I chose to use are these Oriental Lilies. Now, let me tell you a trick about an Oriental Lily. They have stamens which open up and disperse pollen. You want to always be careful with pollen because if you allow that stamen to open up, it is going to get yellow stains in your lilies. So anytime you see those stamens that are still in the lily, go ahead and remove them. Just pick those right out. And we do this because they just make a mess, okay? Not only will they make a mess in your flower, they will also make a mess on your hands or on your clothes. So if you go ahead and remove it before they open up, you have cleared yourself from any mess. Now, a trick that if you get the pollen, if the pollen gets on the lily, take a chenille stem, or we call it a pipe cleaner. It's just a fuzzy little wire, and you take that, I fold mine in half, and then I just rub it right down into the center of the lily. That removes any of the pollen from the lily. Now, if you get that pollen on your clothing, you're gonna find pollen tends to be, it's an oily substance. So if it gets on your clothes, often you think your clothes are ruined, but let me tell you, they're not. And the reason they're not is because here's the trick to removing pollen from your clothes. You can't wipe it off. You can't even wash it out in the washing machine. If you will take whatever piece of clothing that you got that lily pollen on and set it in the sunlight will absorb the lily pollen. So no matter what clothing or what kind of material that lily pollen is on, lay it in the sunlight. Don't rub it, don't wash it, and even if you do rub it or wash it, the sunlight will still absorb it. Try it, you will be amazed. So I'm gonna take this lily, I'm gonna cut it at an angle, and my thoughts are, we're gonna tuck these kind of right down here in the front of this arrangement. Now, actually, I'm going to rearrange my stalk just a little bit. I don't want them just side by side, so I'm going to rearrange it just a little. I'm going to take my second lily, make sure they're out. I'm just going to make sure the stamens are out. I think the next lily is going to go right about here, okay? So often I'll turn my arrangement around, look at it, kind of study it, and then figure out where I want the next flower. Okay, so there's our two lilies. So see how they're kind of off to the side, but they're tucked right in there. Now these are called Oriental lilies, and there's two different varieties of lilies that we personally work with here at the shop. We work with Orientals and we work with Asiatics. Orientals are the fragrant lilies, larger, showier lily. Asiatic are the brighter colored lilies. So we love the Oriental just strictly for its size and its beauty. Now the next flower I chose because they wanted happy and they wanted sunshine. Well, if you ask me, a sunflower is sunshine and it brings such joy. It's just so happy, and of course it's yellow, which is my very favorite color. I'm going to start with my tallest flower first and work down to my shortest or my smallest flower. And when I said that, I misspoke because the shorter flower is going to be your larger bloom. The tallest flower is going to be your smallest bloom. So when you're working with flowers, you're going to graduate in size. And the reason is because a larger flower looks like it's heavier. It has more visual weight, okay? Medium size, the medium open one is going to go in the middle, and then the smallest or the tightest bud will go at the top. So I'm just going to graduate them down. And you can start from the bottom up or the top down, whichever you prefer. And actually, I think I'm going to start from the bottom up. So my largest sunflower is going to go right here in the center, right in the focal, so that it's the first thing that when you look at this arrangement, you're going to look at this large showy sunflower because he's just as happy as can be. So see how pretty he is? So my second bloom is my medium-sized bloom. And so you're just going to, sometimes they're all the same size, and that's okay. But when they're not, go ahead and graduate in size. So my second bloom, I'm going to tuck him right here kind of in the middle. Just kind of a stair step up from my largest bloom. So I'm going to turn it. Now I like to figure out where my height is going to be by using my tabletop. And so I will take my lily and hold it down, these are sunflowers, and I'm going to hold it right at the height that I think I want my sunflower. So you can see, here's my arrangement. I'm thinking I want him about this tall. So I can take and cut my stem right there, okay? It just kind of helps you visualize it. Now, over the years, I've gotten to where I don't have to do that little measurement, but every once in a while, it's a good idea to do. So see how he just steps up, just the next little level. And then my smaller bloom is going to go in the top, okay? I'm gonna take my knife, cut that at an angle, and tuck him right here in the top. And I think I've got him a little long, so I'm gonna take him and I'm gonna cut a little more stem off. Now, anytime you're working with flowers, you want to be careful and not cut too much of the length off. If you cut it too short, you can't add stem back to it, okay? And so that's hard. You can really mess up. Okay, so there are our sunflowers. They're just stair-stepped right there in the arrangement. The next thing we're going to do is add a little bit of filler flower. So this is called Solidago, one of my favorites. You know I'm a yellow girl, and so Solidago is the perfect filler flower, really, for most anything. And so I'm just going to take this filler and I'm going to fill in any voided places. Now, you do not always have to fill all the voids. So I don't ever want you to think, oh, there's an empty space, I've got to fill this space, because it's okay if you don't. It's okay to have empty space, okay? But I really like Solidago. I think it's a really pretty added filler, gives a touch of color. It's fairly inexpensive, and I love that too, and it lasts a long time. So there's our Solidago, and you can see how it just kind of filled up the arrangement. Now, our last flower that I have chosen to use for this arrangement, and I'm pulling out a few little wires because I like to wire them, is a garden rose. So these are David Christopher garden roses. I'm not exactly sure the variety. Beautiful peach color. We got these flowers from Budsy, and they're so lovely, and they smell lovely. Now, a garden rose, you're going to find the difference in a garden rose versus a traditional standard rose is that a garden rose is a softer rose and it opens up more. It gives you a really beautiful show. They tend to be a more expensive rose also. So anytime a rose has the name garden in it, it can be of any garden variety. Anytime it says it's a garden variety, it's a more expensive rose, and it's just strictly because it's very popular. It's a popular wedding flower. People use them often. So I am just taking this wire and wiring their little heads. I do that for a little extra added security, that's all. So there's our 3 roses. I'm going to turn my arrangement around. Now you see my lilies on one side, my sunflowers coming down the center. I think our roses are going to go on this side, okay? Over to the right, I'm going to take my floral knife, and I am just going to cut them at an angle and nestle those. Right down into that arrangement. I think I'm going to use the 3rd one right over here by the lilies. Now, anytime you're designing, do not feel like you can't move a flower if you don't like its placement. You can move it, you can trim it, you can do whatever you need to do if you don't like its placement. Okay, so here is our beautiful mixed arrangement. So to finish it off and to give that get well feeling to this arrangement, I thought we would make a pretty bow using some of our ribbon on our website. So here at Flowers by the Bunch, we have a Shopify website, and we're actually running a sale right this second. Today is the 4th of January, and so this sale will go on through the 5th of January, and if you'll put in the promo code Santa in all caps, you will get 50% off of all of our ribbon that's on our website. So the ribbons I've chosen to use for this arrangement are this sweet lime green polka dot, a royal burlap, royal blue, and then this is a sheer organza. It's actually got a filament in it, and I want to say that this one's lemon yellow. It's just a bright, pretty yellow, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with my polka. Well, I'm going to start out with our sheer. I'm going to start out with our lemon yellow organza. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut, well, if I had picked up some better scissors, cut that ribbon just to clean off that bottom. And I'm going to do 3 loops. So I'm just taking the ribbon, making a loop, a twist, a loop, a twist, and a loop. I love to use different ribbons and do more of a layered bow. It's just so fun, and it makes a happy bow. So this is our lime green with polka dots, white polka dots. I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to do 3 loops. So make a loop, twist, a loop, twist, and a loop. So that's 3 loops. And I have the worst scissors in the flower shop. So there's our polka dot. Now I'm going to add this royal blue because of our blue delphinium. So I'm going to do exactly the same. But I'm only going to do 2 loops for the royal blue. And I left my streamers just a little longer. All right, I'm going to grab a piece of wire. I like to use 21 gauge wire, and I cut it in half because often if you tie off a bow with a full 18-inch length of wire, you are going to waste some wire. You're going to cut it off and throw it away. So cut it in half. Half is plenty. So I'm taking that wire, I'm bending it, and I'm going to twist it tight. And then I'm going to take my bow, see how fun that bow is, and I'm going to fluff it. So I'm just going to twist and pull those loops. And there's our happy get well soon bow. Okay, now I'm going to take actually just one of the stems I tossed in the trash. This is Solidago stem, and I am going to wrap that wire right around that stem. Just wrap it really tight. You're using it just as if it was a wood pick, okay? And it's free because you were gonna throw it away. And next I'm going to turn my arrangement, and I am going to tuck my little happy bow right over to the side. And if some of these tails don't look pretty, just give it another fresh cut. It's okay. And there is our happy get well soon arrangement. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. If you have any questions about how I put together this arrangement or any questions overall about the flower shop, don't hesitate to ask. I'm so happy to answer your questions. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Be sure to check out our Shopify website. Remember, use the promo code SANTA in all caps, and you will get 50% off through the 5th. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.